Hi, my name is Rachel Koo, and this is my history final project. For this project, I interviewed my dad's mom, or my grandma, or Nai Nai in Chinese. This is her telling her story. I hope you enjoy the video. My name is Rachel Koo. This is my dad, Kevin Koo. He will be the translator for today, and this is the person I'm interviewing, my grandma, Su Jin.
Topic?
The topic is the Chinese Civil War. I'll be focusing my interview on that. Okay, first question. Can you please introduce yourself and provide a brief background about your life before the Chinese Civil War?
就是问你可以介绍你自己，然后中国内战的时候什么背景？
今年91岁，这个家庭生活还可以，因为孩子们都在，有的在台湾，有的在这里，还正常，现在还正常，91岁了就是，有些生活要靠别人来帮助，有些可以简单的可以自理一下，现在还可以住到女儿的家里，还可以生活。
那个中国内战之前的中国内战之前的生活是怎么样？
内战我原来是在大陆嘛哈，大陆我的老家山东，山东这个，因为我们那里就是36、7年就闹共匪，共匪就打我们那个，打我们那个县，打我们的县打了1个月，才把潍坊打下来，就交给共产党了。那个时候我是
初中嘛
，14、15岁读初中嘛哈，这个共产党到了我们那里。我就跟着一些逃难的人，我就逃到济南。
好，那个之后讲，
逃到济南就找到姐姐，就这个以后。
好，那是下一题。好，所以 Grandma is 91 years old now, and she's living in the U.S., right? And with all of us, but at that time, before the Chinese Civil War, she's like in middle school, elementary school, between elementary school and middle school, and so she has one brother, she had 2 sisters, and her mom. Her dad, my grandpa, would already passed away at that time, so she was in elementary school, middle school at that time, and then the war broke up, and then she started moving.
Okay. The second question is, how did the Chinese Civil War impact your life?
那个打仗之后，怎么影响你的生活？闹共匪，你就要到开始逃难嘛？
开始逃难，影响我读书。那个时候很小嘛，出来才16岁。读高中。读了4个高中，还没有毕业，就逃到台湾。
Okay, so the war lasts for 4 years. So during that time, the war, she was in middle school. So the 4 years she was in China, and after the war, she had to start moving to Taiwan, and she's been to 4 high schools. So definitely impact her, getting the high school education. She been to 4 high school, but still didn't graduate because she's constantly moving around during the war.
Okay. How did the Chinese Civil War impact those around you?
对啊，那对你的家人有什么影响？这个内战。
那就是
离开的
离
家庭
离开以后就完全没有消息，完全没有消息。家里怎么样，完全
没有联络，
完全不知道。
对啊，so the war broke up and so she had to leave China and she went with one of her sisters. Grandma has two sisters, so she went with one of her sister to move to Taiwan, and so she have ever since she haven't at that time she just totally moved and without seeing her brother and her sister again and her mom. So totally, just the whole family just broke, impact the entire family, not just herself.
Okay. What were your expectations or hopes for the future when you made the decision to move to Taiwan?
就当初为什么决定说要离开大陆到台湾？
那个时候到了这个共产党还没有到我们那的时候，我们听说这个共产党非常的凶恶。所以那个时候我的姐姐这个就是胜利了以后，姐姐回到老家嘛，他们要出来，他们是在济南嘛，所以我那个时候就是跟到人家就逃到济南，去找到姐姐。
Yeah. So grandma, that time is because the civil war, between the Communist Party, Chinese Communist Party and KMT. There's a lot of stories about how terrible the brutal the Communist Party is, right? And people got killed, got brutal beaten, and a lot of bad things happened, right? So grandma's really afraid, and so she decided to go with one of her sister and the other city, and then move to Taiwan. That's the reason.
How did the transition from mainland China to Taiwan affect you emotionally and socially?
对啊，这个从大陆移到台湾，对你有个人什么影响？就是
当然有影响，我就读书就不能够，
还有对家庭也没有，
家人也就是跟着姐姐生活嘛，最后就到台湾嘛，他们国民党到台湾，
对，全新的一个人，这么小一个人就来了，yeah, so impacts a lot, right? So she went to 4 high schools. She was moved to Taiwan when she was 16, right? Left all the family and just with one of her sisters. So when she got to Taiwan, she didn't know anybody except her sister, and so it's a brand new environment to grow up in. So it's a huge impact on her and her family, and she had to learn and be independent quickly. To face all the new life basically in Taiwan.
Have you ever revisited mainland China or had the opportunity to reconnect with any individuals you knew after the Chinese Civil War?
就是打仗之后有没有跟他们继续联络？打完仗没有马上联络，40年才
过了30年，将近30年的时间才有联络的。他是从这个香港啊什么的，美国这样联络上。
对， yeah. So after the Civil War, the China and Taiwan basically all the communication cut off, right? And so she was not able to talk to any members of her family after like 30 years. So there's no communication, no mails or no phone connect. After 30 years later, and then through different channels, go through Hong Kong and finally, she'd be able to, reconnect with her brother and sisters, and mom already, her mom, my grandma, your great grandma already passed away at that time.
Okay.
多一个问题，
嗯
我联络上以后，
Mm-hmm.
母亲也死了，
Yeah.
姐姐也死了，
Oh.
哥哥也死了，完全这一代
Mm.
没有人了，
Oh.
所以都是下一代，
Mm.
所以就是
Yeah. After reconnect, actually, grandma already passed away, and her brother, her sister, all passed away. So only people she'd be able to reconnect to is the next generation, their kids.
Okay, this question is like from before the Chinese Civil War, and it's how did the Japanese-Chinese War impact your life?
就是那个内战嘛，内战之前是日本战，
日本
对，那个怎么影响你的人生？这个日本战争，完全就是受日本教育的嘛，
完全受日本教育。我4岁，日本就侵占了我们那里。我6岁开始读书，读的日本书。
讲日文。
读的日本书，也不是讲日文，就是每一天这个有这个日文课。他是希望你讲日文，但是我们都那个时候都还没有认真学嘛。等我这个小学毕业以后要读初中的时候，就这个日本投降，我就胜利了。
对。
等我们就是等这个国民党到了我们那里以后呢，说我们是伪学生，是我们日本人教育出来学生，就是我就停课1年，学习国民党这些，在初中就读国民党的书，初中读了2年就打内战，就是这一辈子。
好惨。So before the Chinese Civil War, there's almost 10 years war between China and Japan. So when grandma was 4 years old, Japan occupied part of the China. That's where she lived. So she was learning Japanese, take the Japanese education since like elementary school, learning Japanese. And so all this time, and then after the World War II, after the China and Japan war, KMT they won, and they consider grandma's education is all Japanese education, so she had to force her to relearn part of Chinese again. So her education totally messed up with this 2 major wars, with China and with the Communist Party.
Can you describe your journey from mainland China to Taiwan?
就是你逃难的时候，从大陆逃到台湾这一段过程，可不可以讲一下？
要说一下吗？
不用讲太长，就是怎么
我就是
坐船。
从这个在大陆，这济南、青岛，坐船，坐船到台湾。
之前先坐火车嘛。
这个在大陆那个时候还通嘛再从青岛上船，坐了一个星期的船，到台湾，到台湾先到台南，这个到台湾的生活就是跟着姐姐就是一起的。
Yeah. So at that time, when after the Civil War, she had to take the train from where she lived to another big city in China. That's where grandma's sisters, my aunt lives, right? And they united, and then reunited. Then they took the ship, right, from China to Taiwan, and that ship took like a 1 week long trip, right, from China, from northern part of China to Taiwan, and then after 1 week she arrived. So during that journey, this is very very difficult. There's a lot of people packed on that ship, and she just with her sister, and just 2 of them, and the sister's husband, really going through that whole journey. Yeah.
Okay. How did the local Taiwanese population receive or perceive individuals who migrated from mainland China?
Yeah，后来到了台湾之后，台湾的人民怎么欢迎或者接待这些从大陆逃难来的人？
其实这个那个时候是这个日本人投降以后，台湾就还给中华民国嘛。
对。
他们也有的人是喜欢，有的人还是怀念日本。
对。
所以这是两种人。
对。
这个如果是那个时候是，国民党来嘛，那也就是他们也就接受。
Yeah. So at that time, because Taiwan was occupied by Japan, before the Civil War, and then after the Civil War, and the Taiwan was returned to the China government. So when all those people, about 2 million people in total, 2 million, and those people moved to Taiwan, the local people, some of them are, welcome them, some of them are more missing Japanese government, so it's kind of mixed feeling at that time for Taiwanese, for those people moving from China. Yeah.
原来台湾是给这个被日本人占领，就是打仗，这个中国输了，就给了日本，日本投降就把台湾还给中国。
Taiwan at that time was occupied by Japan, and after World War II, Japan government they were defeated. Taiwan was given back to China.
Oh, this is kind of a repeat question. How did you reconnect with your family?
Yeah, 最后你怎么跟他们联络上的？跟那个你的亲戚？
大陆啊。
对。
就是经过这个美国、香港，写信。这个投到大陆去，找到大陆的人再回来，就是这样的，没有直接通信，没有直接通信。
So at that time, after 30 some years, right? So they have to go through U.S., go through Hong Kong, through different channel to China, and China through local, connection, and then in touch with the family there. So, at that time, the communication was not really, encouraged. But afterwards, after 40 some years, then communication become allowed.
How did?
Let's check the video. Who can cut it? Okay, let's do it.
Okay. 10th question is, how did the political situation between mainland China and Taiwan impact your daily life and interactions with others in Taiwan?
就是台湾跟大陆这个政治怎么影响你的生活？这个台湾跟这两个敌对的政府嘛，那时候。
对呀。
对。
这个台湾还算自由嘛，自由生活。大陆都是要受管制嘛。
对。
受管制。
Yeah. So because China is occupied by a Communist Party, so they're really not allowed free, speech, right? But in Taiwan government is more westernized, more open, and is more open, and people can really have a democratic society. So it's totally two different systems, two political systems between China and Taiwan. So she grew up after she moved to Taiwan, all the life is in more democratic side.
Were there any restrictions or limitations placed on you due to your background or connections to mainland China?
那这个，因为你那个在台湾了之后，因为你的家人在大陆，那个有没有对你有什么影响？
完全没有联络，
就没有联络吗？
影响的。 我不知道他们怎么样，
Yeah.
他们也不知道我怎么样，
Yeah, yeah.
就是。
Just there for 30 some years cut off, right, the communication between Taiwan and China. So she had no idea, right, how the family, how you know, how her mom, her brothers, sisters, how they're doing. And at that time, you know, just like it's not allowed, right? So really, you know, the government at that time doesn't allow any kind of direct communication between two countries.
Have you considered returning to mainland China since moving to Taiwan? If so, what factors influence your decision?
那时候你有没有想要搬到台湾之后，有没有想到要回中国？
我回去了一下，啊，
那是去玩吗？
就是回去了一下，觉得这个思想啊、习惯啊都有些不同了，这个也就算了，因为子女都在台湾嘛。
She only after the moving to Taiwan, she only visit after we reconnect. She went back to visit, you know, all the family, the next generation once, right? But everything's changed, right? They grew up all different situation, and grandma has all the family, you know, in Taiwan, and you know, all the kids and grandkids. So she never considered want to move back to China. It's totally to a different family.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you think your life would have been different if you stayed in mainland China?
如果你那个时候没有就一直留在大陆的话，你觉得那个你的生活会是怎么样？
我不知道我死活，我不知道我活着还是死了 I don't know.
Yeah. So if she stay in China, she would not know if she was still alive, because so many people were killed in the Civil War, and many had that happen. So she would, you know, probably she would not, you know, still stay alive if it still stay in China.
How do you view the relationships between China and Taiwan today? Do you have any hopes or concerns for the future of relationships, and do you want Taiwan and China to reunite?
你觉得大陆跟台湾的关系现在怎么样？然后你会不会希望他们能够统一，变成一个国家？
希望两岸是和好比较好，都是中国人嘛，生活习惯都差不多，都一样嘛，所以还是统一比较好。
Yeah, so right now China and Taiwan is two different countries, and but it's through different systems. So if they grow more in the future, become more open, then probably it's good to reunite it, as long as, you know, there's no war, because war is the most brutal thing, right? The most terrible thing in the world. So grandma thinks like, you know, as long as there's no war, anything can be talked about. Yeah.
Reflecting on your journey from mainland China to Taiwan and the events of Chinese Civil War, what lessons or insights do you believe future generations should take from this period in history?
就是你从大陆搬到台湾，对这个历史上有什么教训？你觉得下一代应该怎么学习？
那就是不要打仗，
不要打仗，
不要打仗，打仗是没有胜利，
没
有赢家，没有赢家，打仗没有赢家。
Yeah.
就是不要打仗。
So again, the really the lessons learned here is should be no war, right? War is the most terrible thing, and really there's no winners from the war, right? Everybody loses, and her family, so many people die, her family broken up to all different pieces, and all because of war. So really, just for future generation, just try to do everything and prevent war from happening.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to share about your experiences, memories, or reflections on the Chinese Civil War or your life in Taiwan? And do you think there are any specific stories that you feel are important to pass on to future generations?
嗯哼，就是最后一题了，就是说有没有还有其他的什么故事想要分享的？还有其他有什么其他的人，未来的人要怎么判断这段历史？
未来的这个都是认真做事，
嗯哼
好好的做人就对了，好好做人就对了。
Yeah. So for with this civil war, right, and all happening, so people should really just focus on what they're doing, try to be nice to each other, and try to really do everything they can preventing from war happening, because that really just very terrible thing happened. Alright.
Thank you.
来哥，给你奶奶一个 hug。OK， 好。
这个录音可以家传了。
So that is in the end of the video. At the end of the video, the part that was cut off, my grandma said, I hope this video passes down to our family many generations. I think it is important for us, and I think it was important for me as this interview was an opportunity for me to learn more about my family and the background and all the struggles that my grandma faced. She is one of the best people in my life, and I never fully knew the extent of the struggle that she faced until I was given this opportunity to make this video and interview her. So with that, I would like to thank my grandma for allowing me this opportunity and her allotting time out of her day to interview with me. And I'd like to thank Miss Banker for giving me this opportunity to learn more about my family and history. I really hope this video goes down further for many generations in order for us to learn where we have come from and to learn about the history of our family and who we are. The thing that surprised me the most in this interview was my grandma's message about her opinion on Taiwan and China. She said that Taiwan and China should think about reunification if it is possible under a democratic government. I have talked to many Taiwanese people in the past, and surprisingly, some of them have said reunification, but a lot of them do not want to be reunified with China. But I think that whatever happens, there should be no war between Taiwan and China, as it ruins the lives of many people. For the last part of the video, I would like to show a few things. First of all, I would like to show my grandma's journey. As you can see on this map, she traveled from Shandong, she traveled across Shandong to more east, and then she went down to Shanghai, and then went down to Taiwan, went to Hainan, back to Taiwan again. But currently, my grandma is moved to the United States, and she's currently living in Virginia. These are a few photos from when my grandma was younger, around 20, when she got married, and when she was just young, living in Taiwan. Sadly, we don't have any pictures of her living in China in her childhood. In these pictures, this is actually a picture of Chiang Kai-shek, and my grandpa, who is the one my grandma married, is a general, and he is somewhere he's in the background of this photo over here. And finally, this is a picture of my grandma and all her kids. She was able to give them all a good and successful life. And this is my
one of my most recent photos of my grandma, of me and my grandma. Thank you for watching.